Hi, I'm Bonnie Linke and welcome to Stamping with Bonnie. This afternoon we're going to work with our stamping blends, which are alcohol ink and vellum, to make a really cool background. And I've made a few of them. I've had fun experimenting for the last few months with this and using them in cards. And you're going to love it. I love alcohol inks. I have some of the stamping blends, not all of them, but I do have a complete set of the Copics. So I've been working with the alcohol inks for a number of years, and I hope to pass on my love of them to you. So, okay, let's get started. This is what we're going to do this afternoon. We're going to make this card right here, and this is using the artistic dies. They're in the annual catalog. That's what this gold flower is. But underneath is the vellum. And that is the background we are going to make today. So, and then I have some samples to show you of different ones I've made when we're done. So this is our piece of vellum. You'll find it in the annual catalog. My page size is 4 inches by 5 1/4. Next thing we have is just a little tray here. And in that, I am going to pour my rubbing alcohol. Now, the rubbing alcohol, when you're working with alcohol inks, you want at least a 91%. There is a 93 out there, I believe, and there's also a 99%. If I could find the 93 or 99%, I would get that. The higher the alcohol content, the better. The one that's only 71%, I do not recommend it for working with alcohol inks because it can damage your pens. So I'm going to take some and pour it into this little tray. This tray has a lot of useful purposes. I will put drops of ink in it to watercolor with on watercolor paper, and I find all good uses for it. Okay, the next thing is your work surface. I have a glass tabletop, which is by Tim Holtz. I love this. Whenever I work with my alcohol inks, especially coloring, I use this. And I put my paper that I'm coloring directly on this surface. When you're coloring, you want to have a non-absorbent surface underneath your paper. If you put another piece of paper under there, like copy paper or something, that's just going to draw the ink down and absorb it into that bottom piece of paper. It doesn't leave the ink on top to help blend it. So I recommend you have some type of solid surface in which to color on. Okay, and these are some of my stamping blends that I have down. This is dark polished pink. This is dark daffodil delight. This is dark freesia. And I think we're going to add just a tiny bit of the dark granny apple green in it too. We'll see. Okay, so first what I'm going to do is your watercolor. Now, Stampin' Up sells a set of 3, which are perfect. This is an old one I've had that's only ever been used for alcohol inks. There's never been regular water in this. And that's why I use this one. It's green and I don't get it mixed up with the others. So I recommend that once you put rubbing alcohol in your pen, that you just mark it that it's for rubbing alcohol only if you're going to keep doing fun techniques with alcohol inks. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece of vellum and I am going to color in the whole thing of it. And I can come back if I need to. Make sure when you're done with your alcohol ink pens that you put the caps on tight. Because if you don't, they'll dry out and then they're no good. Okay, this is the dark freesia. Now the dark freesia doesn't have as much color as what the polished pink does. So I don't really want to put it like in between here. And that's my own preference. But we'll see. Okay. Add some granny apple green. Whoops, I'm using the wrong end. No wonder why it feels wrong. There we go. You want to use the big fat end when you're coloring. Let's see. I'll put some over here too. Now it looks like I kind of did rows of 3. It wasn't intentional. I just did it. So, and I'll just bring this all the way down. I have no idea what this is going to look like when it's done, so we'll find out together. It's only paper and ink. So I'm going to go and do the freesia first. I like to stick to one color at a time, and I squeeze a little bit of the rubbing alcohol out. That's why I like using these water pens. You can use a paintbrush. With the paintbrush, you would just keep dipping it in. Now we'll go to the polished pink. I love the way the polished pink looks. I know, I just went over that fresh freesia with the polished pink, and it was rather overwhelming to it. Okay, wash that off a little bit. And I do have a paper towel here to just kind of clean my pen off. Let's go with the yellow. They will run together. You cannot help that. And that's kind of the look you're after anyhow. And it looks like the pink and the yellow almost get a gold look to it. And then we'll do the granny apple green. I think this green is so pretty. Okay, now I'm going to take my straw and blow around a little bit to move the alcohol around. I'm mainly blowing to get it up off the edges. Now we can let this dry by itself, or I can use my heat gun. When you use the heat gun, it will usually curl the edges. And alcohol dries pretty fast, so that's not a problem. Okay, I'll wipe that off a little bit. Okay, and you can see what it looks like there. Now, if you don't like the way it turned out, there's a lot of green in there, and this is dry. I can take my marker and go back in and add some more color. And then you just take your marker and swish it around. And that was the fresh Freesia I put in there. So, and then we'll go ahead and dry that real quick. Wherever the on button is. Okay, I'm going to stop because I don't want, I got there. Okay, let me see. So you can make corrections. You know, I can take that and just kind of rub it out some if I want to. In that area right there too. It was too brown for me. And then just dab it. And then let me try a little bit of yellow in there. So as you can see, you can keep playing with this and keep having fun. Now, my pen had gotten a little brown color from the mushiness. And so that's why I'm making sure it comes clean, the brush. There we go. That'll be fine. And just kind of wet that right there too. There. I'm happy with that. So you can, you know, have fun doing whatever you want. And then what you're going to do, you're going to put it on a piece of white paper. And as I put that underneath there, you can see that it looks totally different than what it did without the white paper underneath. That's actually very pretty. Very pretty. I like that. Now, another thing you can do, you can take your water pen, get a little drop of rubbing alcohol on the tip, and just splatter drops of alcohol on it. Like so. And as it dries, you'll see where you have the dots. And again, let me put the white underneath there. And you can see the dots in there. That's how you do that. Another way to do it, and first I want to do, we're going to set that right there. I have this one here I did last night. And we're going to go ahead, as I said, it can, and this dried naturally, I think. It can curl up. So, okay, I'm going to take this and I can always trim this down more if I need to, but I'm going to take it. I got tear and tape on here. You can kind of see the outline of it a little bit. That doesn't bother me. You know, it's not noticeable enough where it's going to cause a problem. And if you're going to do a frame on it, around it like what we're doing, it won't matter. Okay. This is what I did last night. And I used the dark Bermuda Bay. I used the dark Misty Blue. And I didn't have Pacific Point. So I took a Copic that was close to that color and used it. And isn't that beautiful? But I have a mister. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mist it from up here. And you will see all the little dots from the misting. And if you want to, you can do more. I love doing that. And this would be perfect for an underwater scene. Another thing you can do, and I sent it out I had made a Christmas card using the vellum, and I did green down at the bottom, and I had an embossing folder, the ones with the trees. So I kind of placed it in there, and I knew where I wanted the green to go, and I knew where I wanted the blue to go. And I did this exact same technique, and it looked like a forest of trees with a blue sky. And I used it as the background on a Christmas card, and then I just put a saying on it and sent it off. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and make our card. And I'm going to fold it in half and use my bone folder. Now, I like tear and tape, so I've already put it on. This is one I made last night, and this is the polished pink, the Daffodil Delight, and the fresh Freesia, and that's using the dark of them all. I am going to center that on there. And where's my pick tool? And all I did is I took my piece of vellum and I taped it to a piece of white cardstock, just like you saw. Oh, you didn't see me do. Oh, yes, you did with the blue one. Okay. And then I'm going to take my frame. And I am going to get it centered on the card and hold it in place. Now, a lot of people use glue, and there's nothing wrong with glue. I just know from my own experience, I am messy with glue. So I like using the tear and tape. And that budged. So let me get it back again where I want it. Okay, close enough. Normally I start at the top and then go to the side so that I have more control over it. And I made this frame. I take a piece of 5.5 by 4 1/4 cardstock, and this is polished pink cardstock. The one I showed you earlier was the Magenta Madness. And I used, for this one, I used this frame right here and just cut it out of my 5.5 by 4 1/4 piece of cardstock. And then I cut the flower out of gold foil. I also cut I cut 2 out of white cardstock. And then I glued them together. And I could put that on, but I decided to use this one. And we're going to glue it down. So I'm going to get my silicone mat. And this is Art Glitter Glue. It just happens to be one of my favorite brands. Everybody has their favorite. I like the Stampin' Up! Glue too. And I got the fine tip on it. But I just put, this glue holds good, it dries fast. I just put drops of it around on the back of this. I know it's not very exciting watching somebody glue. If you want glue over the whole thing, you can use a sponge and sponge it on. Another thing you can do is you could put the double-sided sheets that we have of tape the flat sheets and put it on the back of your paper before you cut it out, and then just use that to tape it down. Okay, I think that's enough. Okay. Now I am not going to do a greeting on this card, but if I was, I'd probably just do hello out of the Artistically Ink stamp set, which is this one right here. The hello would be nice in there on white cardstock in the polished pink. That would look pretty. And then just take one of the dies and cut it out, or one of your punches. But sometimes I just like to leave them as they are until I know what I want it for. And sometimes I just like to send cards with no greeting on the front of it. Just let the artwork speak for itself, because, you know, I hear from a lot of people that they keep my cards out all the time, and so I'm sure they do yours too. So if there's no saying on the front of it, you know, it's a piece of artwork just sitting out there for them to admire. And this is one that people would keep out and admire. Okay, and then it needs some bling. We always need bling. And as you can see, I'm messy. And I can't remember what I did with my my pick. I just had it. So I'm going to use the old pick. And I'm going to use some gems from the Genial Gems. If you have any of the champagne gems, they would look real pretty on here too. And then one more. I like doing things in threes. And there we go. And on the inside, I would probably, and I didn't think of it, I should have made it a little bit bigger to the width, an extra 3/4 of an inch. And then I could have put that on the inside of my piece of paper. And that would have looked gorgeous for decorating it. So there's a decorating idea for the inside of your card for you. Unfortunately, I didn't think of it in time. Okay, and now to show you some of the other ones I've done. I'll just set that up there. And I'm going to put right here my host code for the month of January. If you need any Stampin' Up! Products, I would appreciate if you would consider ordering from me and put this host code on your order. And remember, during January and February, if you place a $50 merchandise order, you get to take a free product out of the celebration catalog. So there's a lot of exciting things in there. Okay, this first one here, this is Bermuda Bay, Pumpkin Pie, and Granny Apple Green. The stamp is not a Stampin' Up! Stamp. I apologize for that. I was just fooling around playing with it. It's a mermaid, in case you can't tell. I stamped this with Memento ink. It did finally dry. But it took all night, and I had stamped this yesterday, and as you can see, it stays on there. I should probably experiment with stays on. That may be a better choice for stamping on vellum. I'm not sure. Okay, and this is one that I did, and this one was an equal to Pacific Point. The green was probably, we don't have garden green, so I'm not sure which green it would be. Granny Apple would be a good choice to use. And this is your dark Freesia and Daffodil Delight. This one here is Daffodil Delight, Polished Pink, and Pumpkin Pie. Aren't they pretty? They are just so gorgeous. This is one that is a different orange out of my Copics, but it is Daffodil Delight and Polished Pink. And the Polished Pink just changes a little bit when it is around different colors. And you can see this. You know, Blackberry Bliss would be perfect on one of these. And your blue, yellow, and greens. And then this one right here, blue, yellow, green, and a light purple. So there you go. Isn't that fun? I hope you enjoyed this technique, and if you have any questions or need anything, I'm Bonnie Linke with Stamping at Bonnie Lynn, and my webpage, my blog is Stamping at Bonnie Lynn, all one long word.com, and my email address is bonnie@stampingwithbonnielynn.com. I look forward to hearing comments from you, and thank you very much. Bye.